just started. So.
What did you do, Lionel?
No, it's
What did you
1,
just
2,
start?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines.
Dave,
Yeah, and a floating fish.
can I pass the Dave?
No, you can't.
So where do I start?
Right here and yeah, and right there. No drawing on the paper.
Hi, Rafe, since you and Riley and some of you are paying attention. So, what's another way to say to you, gentleman, lady? What's a you plus you? Look at you! U plus U is another name for sine U, cosine U. We are having a lot of talking today. Templeton, Hiram, if you guys need to leave, go out, and then you can talk. You're killing me as well, basically. So, what is another name for sine 2u? Notice that sine u, cosine u, sine u, cosine u. How many sine u, cosine u's do I have? 2. So it equals 2 sine u, cosine u. Notice I just gave you a formula to memorize. Do-da, do-da. But could you find it without memorizing it? Yes, yes, you can. So, what's another way to write cosine 2u? Cosine u plus u, huh? There's probably something that's going to be like that to say, verify this, but whatever. So, this is cosine u minus sine u, which is cosine squared u minus sine squared of u. There is a formula right there. But I know there are different ways to write cosine squared, correct? What's another way to write cosine squared? What's 1 minus sine squared minus sine squared? Does everybody understand how I got this other formula? I replaced cosine squared with 1 minus sine squared. So 1 minus sine squared is 1 minus 2 sine squared. Thank you so much. Yes? Feel good? Uh-huh. So, another way, what's another name for sine squared? 1 minus sine squared, cosine squared, right? And if I distribute it through, here I'll just write it off the side. Cosine squared minus parenthesis 1 minus cosine squared. Because I replaced cosine squared with 1 minus sine squared. So this is 2 cosine squareds, because I have 1 here and 1 here, because that makes it a plus, minus 1. Those are all different names for cosine 2u. I could use any of these. Okay? Look at your shoes matching your semi-sweatery top. You got some red, but then you got some burgundy on top, you know. Yes, that's what I was going for. Might have came out wrong, but that's what I was going for. Well, it was raining. I saw you. I was at the store. No, with rain, why? I know, but that's just a waste of water. Is your car wash always running no matter what? Interesting. You guys recycle water? Okay, then I feel better. I will come to, are you working today? Oh, nuts and crackers. Tomorrow? I will come in tomorrow. If not, you will get an A on your next Bell quiz. You're like, I don't want to see you. Okay. What are you doing?
I'm finding where we did this last year. Oh, no, oh man, that was fun. I hated that. Pretty much. Let's see.
What's the thing I can substitute? I can't pull out the 2, but I can change this. Anyway, I just told you what that equals. I can't pull it out. I can change it. Okay, what do those guys have in common? By the way, this is equal to 0. Sorry about that. 0. Why? So notice, guys, the answer here. Shh. All right, so sine 2x. What's another name for sine 2x? Well, that's where sine of x equals 0, doesn't it? Where does sine equal 0? 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, or basically every pi n, correct? Because it's happening here and here. Notice how do I always have to get there? Just adding pi over and over again, correct? So I'm basically every pi n, or n belongs to the integers. Where does cosine equal -1? Pi, but isn't that already answered within here? So do I have to write another answer solution? Nope, so all I gotta do is say n belongs to the integers. Well, you should have probably had, it was probably given to you a lot longer ago. No bad feelings for you then. See, everybody says, where do you ever use math? Where do you ever use a damn essay? No, you don't. You don't need to. It might look nicer, but it's not required. I agree. Hence why I'm throwing it back in other people's faces that it's not the only subject. Exactly. I would agree. Okay. Oh, I got a chitty chatty corner today. What? Ceramics.
No, history is
Tell me when you will ever need to realize.
You don't need to know the exact date. And if your teacher's teaching you exact dates, then they're teaching you history wrong. That's what I'm saying. That's why you don't enjoy it, is because you're learning, you learn, yes, I will fight you on history. I think history's gay. Okay. No way. It's not working very well. All right. So Notice I want to know what the cosine of 2x is. I could ask for the sine of 2x. I could ask for the tangent of 2x. Notice once again, I know those, so you have to know those two, right? I don't know tangent. Could you put tangent on your note card if you wanted to? Yes, and I would suggest you do so. Okay, so somebody's not been paying attention. Because have I not talked about 3x5 card before about putting tangent items on there? No, maybe the 3 kids. I mean the other 3 classes I have. So I will accept a 3x5 card for most tangent ideas. I will tell you next time which ideas can be on a 3x5 card. It must be a 3x5 card. It cannot be a paper cut in 3x5. If you want it, you will go get what I want. Does that make sense? A 3x5 card with the information. If you have anything more, I will just rip it up. Because I want a 3x5. Because if you're going to do it, and I'm giving you an opportunity to put something on your test, you're going to do what I ask. I like that answer, huh? You might not. I do. So really quickly, ladies and gentlemen, where quadrant is angle X in? Quadrant 2, right? So I'm going to draw this in quadrant 2. Does that mean that's where cosine 2x is in quadrant 2? Not necessarily, right? So notice we know cosine is negative 3/4. This guy is root 7. Okay, any questions on how I got that? But where would cosine 2x be? Can anybody tell me that? I know cosine 2x, as I times everything right here by 2. If I times everything by 2, I get pi to 2 pi. So it's in quadrant 3 or 4. I'm not sure. Does that make sense? Okay. So cosine 2x, remember we had all 3 of those formulas. Doesn't matter what I choose. I'm personally going to use this formula. Can anybody tell me why I would choose this formula over the other 2? Nope. Could care less about it. Nope. Say again, bud. Anybody know why? Seriously, there's a reason why I'd pick him over the other 2. Go ahead, Chuck. Sorry. I like Chuck. Don't we already know what cosine of x is? So what if I made my triangle wrong? Sine could be wrong, couldn't it? But if I just use regular cosine, I should be able to just plug it right in there, shouldn't I? And I shouldn't have an issue, correct? So I have 2. Cosine of x is negative 3/4. But that answer is being squared, minus 1. Ooh. So this is 2 times 9/16 minus 1, which is 9/8 minus 1, which is 1/8. So cosine 2 of the angle x would be 1/8 because I know what the cosine of x is. So guess what quadrant that 2x is in? Is it in 3 or is it in 4? What do you think, Chuck? Because notice this could be in quadrant 3 or 4 because pi to 2 pi could be in either or. But how do I know? Because it came out 1/8, how do I know it's the angles in quadrant 4? Perfect. Because cosine is positive, I know I have to have my cosine positive, and what location would that be in? 1 and 4, but I know I only have opportunities to be in 3 and 4, so therefore 4 is the location. Kelsey, are you okay today? I saw you like roll your eyes 5 times at me and shake your head. So, do you understand why the angles in between these 2 angles are those 2? Okay? And all I did is just the work, and it came out to be this. And not that really this is necessary for your test, I just want you guys to sometimes, math's about thinking in my mind. That's the key part. Just like in English, it's about thinking and expressing yourself. Yes, there is things to use in English. I was just throwing it out there. Anyway, it does allow you to think deeper, and that's the questions I want you to think. If this is the case, I'm not sure if it's in 3 and 4, but because this answer popped out, boom, I know it's in quadrant 4 now. Okay? You can dig a little deeper from some clues that we find. Yes? Yeah. Sure it did. What's negative 3 squared? What's 4 squared? It's 9/16. Nope, it cannot. Does 9 and 16 have 3 and 4 in common? Okay. All right, we're going to go on to half angles really quick. I think that's sufficient enough for the double angles. And I will be honest, I have no idea this morning coming in what the half angle formulas were. So guess what that means to you? You don't need to know them. I know them now because I've used them now 4 times in this day. It will be on the test, I guarantee it. So either A, memorize it, or get the damn 3x5 card. Can anybody tell me why there's plus or minus? Hold on, don't say it yet though. Here's tangent. I'm going to write it for you. I don't usually write tangent, but on these ones it's especially nice to know the tangent because it gets nasty. I think it's... Is anybody on that page? I'm going from memory. We're going to go this. Am I right or am I off on my plus or minus? Is it 1 minus for tangent? What up, Jay? I know, but I don't want to. Okay, we're going to assume that's the case. Thank you. I don't know. Somewhere in 5.5. Nope, flip it. I am right? Yes! Got 3. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have a question. Why do I have plus or minuses? What's the purpose of these plus or minuses? That is what you believe, but that's not the reasoning. Why, Hiram? I love Hiram. Look at you thinking like a Jinkin, brother. Oh. Still, thank you, Hiram. It is. It's because the quadrant. Let me give you an example. Okay? Let's say 300 degrees. What location, what quadrant is 300 degrees in? It's in quadrant 4. Notice sine would be negative, cosine would be positive, tangent would be negative, right? But if I go 300 divided by 2, right, that puts me at 150 degrees. That's in quadrant 2. So when I do 300 divided by 2, that's 150. Should it be positive or negative? Is sine positive or negative in quadrant 2? Positive, so I will use the positive result. Cosine, what would it become? Because I'm in quadrant 2. In quadrant 2, cosine is negative. So when I first taught this, as you contemplate your question when you're ready, as I used to teach this, I just tell people put plus or minus on all of them. And then like 2 years ago, it finally clicked for me on why. And then I became a better teacher because I could teach you guys why. So, but that's really the only reason is because, once again, it tells us which quadrant that is belonging to. So let me give you an example. Sure it does. Like this. I would like us to find, oops, I don't like that color. Sure, we're going to go black. Black, the quarterback. Did I ever do this with you guys yet? It's maybe you're the class that I've done this with. What about sine of 15 degrees? Well, is that something I could do on my calculator? Yes. But could I get an exact answer? Only one person can say yes. Anyway, isn't this equivalent to sine of 30 divided by divided by 2? Right? Everybody agree with that? Well, is sine of 15 degrees? Well, I want to know, is it the plus or minus? What is sine of 15? It should be a positive because it's in quadrant 1, right? Now the formula is 1 minus the cosine of theta. Who's my theta in this case? 30 all over 2. So then I say, okay, well that's 1 minus, what's the cosine of 30? That is root 3 over 2 all over 2. So that's 2 minus root 3 over 2 over 2. I just got a common denominator of the top fraction. What happens when you have a fraction over a fraction? I times by its reciprocal. So therefore that's the square root of 2 minus root 3 all over 4, which is square root of 2 minus root 3 all over 2. They might have something different. Yep. Mr. Jones did a whole math club lesson on why this root 2 minus root 3 over 2 is the same thing as root 6 minus root 3 or whatever it is, root 2.
But if I do the square root 1 minus cosine 30 over 2,
that is interesting, actually.
same answer.
Okay, do you guys understand where the plus or minus comes in? Let me show you on another example. I'm still going to use this black because I'm kind of having fun with it. And that's why I'm going to be here, huh? You ready? We're going to use this lime green. So, what if I told you I want you to find the cosine of theta over 2 if the sine of theta is 3/5 and theta, actually make it negative 3/5. Theta is between 2 pi and 3 pi halves. In your eyes, I think it's kind of fun. Is it fun? You guys like that color? Do I get a smile? A little bit? So much that your job is math now. You don't like coming to math, but your job is math. Okay. I agree. It's hard at the end of the day. I would struggle too. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what quadrant is theta over 2 in? Theta is in quadrant 4. Would you guys agree? But what's theta over 2 in? Well, if we're not sure, that's when we go ahead and divide everything by 2. So notice theta over 2 is in between 3 pi fourths and pi. Correct? Does that make sense to everybody? Kels? Trying to make it understand. Do you understand what I did there? So notice, should cosine of theta over 2 be positive or negative? Negative, because in quadrant 2, cosine is negative, isn't it? So therefore, I should have negative square root of 1 plus cosine of theta all over 2. I'm going to quickly draw this in quadrant 4, excuse me. Where this is sine's negative 3 over 5. So this guy right here is a 4. So what's the cosine of theta? Thank you. So So I have negative square root of 1 plus 4 over 5 all over 2. Then we just simplify. That's the square root of 9/5 over 2, which is the square root of 9/10, which is, oh, by the way, all these are negative on the outside. Negative 3 over root 10. And then, this is the time I get fast. And maybe you guys think I shouldn't go fast on these parts, but this is the stuff you should already know is simplifying this stuff, right? Square root of 10, top and bottom. So the answer is negative 3 root 10 over 10. That would be cosine of theta divided by 2. The key part there that I'm looking for is, because the rest of it's really plug and chug and just doing the correct statement to keep going, equivalent statements, right? But the hard part there is understanding which quadrant is cosine theta over 2 in. Because it's in quadrant 2, that's why I know it's a negative result, right? Okay, that's the key part. Your homework is five dash 5, 3, 9, 13, 23, 25, 27, 35 through 41 odd, 47, 49, 53, 59, 95. That's a 95. 97, 99, 109. 19 problems. That's only 19. Huh? Oh, thank you. $95. Do you need me to count it again? That's a 95 for the third time.
Complex trigonometry.
I think so.
Because you don't actually get, you have to do the patterns and stuff. You just need to know how to add, subtract, minus. Yeah.
You have to know cosine of 30.
Yeah. Cosine of 30, which is 30%. Cosine. Aha. No.
I'm like trying.
No.
1/2.
1/2? Yes, I can see 1/2. 1/2. No, it's square root 3 over 2.
Cosine of 30 is root 3 over 2.
Boom.
Hey, are we kosher, me and you? Even though I threw your favorite scale underneath? Yeah? Okay. No, it's not.
My calculator is better at math than I am. Yeah. My calculator is like the square root of a 2.
Yeah, but you can't add 2 plus 2. I want to be unseen.
you just poke. Yeah, it's like when they go, oh, you just straight. Well, you put it down. Oh
In front of the formula?
Yeah.
Seriously? I told her to class the whole 5 times. It does, brother, because, like, if your angle is here, right? So theta over 2 is in here. So therefore, if I'm looking for this angle, the sine of this angle, because here's theta over 2, and I'm looking for the sine of theta divided by 2, it's sine positive or negative there. So hence I'll use the positive and not the negative. If I'm here, hold on, just give me a second before I answer your question. If you're here, what's cosine going to be? So that's why I'd use the negative. Yes, it does. By being in which quadrant?
It only works for one quadrant. If you're in this quadrant, you're trying to find.
Okay, so if you're, but then notice that's the key thing is then this angle right here, let's say you are in this quadrant, but you're going to say, okay, that's 5 pi halves to x to, excuse me, so that should have 2 pi to 5 pi halves. So that's how, when I go ahead and divide, it will be in this quadrant. So, but it's all about where theta is, and then if I divide it by 2, it'll tell us where theta over 2 is. Sure you do. Think about what I'm saying instead of you using your question. That's sometimes what you get struggle with is you're trying to realize it. So if I told you it's here, between here, and that's 5 pi halves, and that's 2 pi, okay? That's theta. So where's theta divided by 2? Cut everything in half. So that's 5 pi fourths, which is here, and that's pi, which is here. So pi halves, I mean theta over 2 is in this right there. So don't I know here cosine's going to be what? And that's what, though? Negative or positive? That's what I'm saying. Exactly. That's why there's both. Because I don't know if I'm using the positive or the negative. It's not plus or minus. It's not plus or minus in the traditional that we've used before. It's saying this could be positive or this could be negative depending upon what quadrant theta over 2 is in. No, this tells you.
So, if I have like costs.
Costs. Who the hell's costs?
If I had.
What does that have to do with the T in China?
I don't
Anyway,
know.
go ahead.
So if I had cosine of theta, then how would I know what cos?
Well, it would have to tell me yes. Hey. Yes. Hi. How are you, Ray? Awesome. How about Tuesday? You can come before school or after school and we can make some arrangements. Should we talk next Monday? Okay. Is that a fair deal, Rafe? Okay, brother. Thanks for talking to me. Let me answer her question just because she's right here. Hi. What's your name? Oh, okay.